In my last video, I showcased the brand new Pocket Go 2. I had originally planned on doing a section of that video comparing that device to the original Pocket Go, but I had to cut it for time. For the uninitiated, the new generation of open source consoles coming out of China are vastly superior to what came before them, but it can be a little hard to make a judgment without a side-by-side comparison. So today we're going to take a look at how the Pocket Go 2 stacks up to the original Pocket Go. Before we do, let's quickly go over the specs of both units. Despite what you may have read, the original Pocket Go is a fairly weak unit with a CPU that operates around 600 MHz, give or take. The unit comes with 32 MB of RAM, 16 GB of storage, a 1000 mAh battery, and a 2.4-inch IPS display with a resolution of 320 by 240. This display does have a 60 Hz panel in it, but the drivers that were developed for this unit are complete trash and lack proper VSync. This device also released with some pretty bad screen tearing, which you will see in this video, but there is a patch that helps mitigate this to some extent. The Pocket Go 2, on the other hand, carries the exact same CPU as the RG350, clocked in at 1 GHz with 512 MB of RAM. The unit comes with a 32 GB card in slot 1 and a user replaceable 2000 mAh battery and a 3.5-inch 320 by 240 60 Hz IPS display. Screen tearing aside, the original Pocket Go is one of the better devices from the previous generation of handhelds. The device can emulate a bunch of systems, but it's really only good at running emulation systems like GB, GBC, Genesis, and some arcade titles. Other systems can run on this device, but they really need frameskip to run well. In order to really show how good the Pocket Go 2 is, we need to take a look at some of the titles that don't run well on the original device. Let's kick things off with a safe comparison. Genesis runs fine on almost any device, and this unit is no exception. The footage on screen right now was shot without the screen tearing fix, but even with the fix, you will still occasionally see some screen tearing on your screen. It's just a matter of when you will find it. When we move over to the PG2, the same title will obviously have no issues running, but it gives us a chance to take a deeper look at that larger IPS panel. At 3.5 inches, the screen is pretty decent for retro gaming, and the picture quality out of this device is top-notch. That being said, the IPS panel on the original device seems to be a tad brighter than the Pocket Go 2 at its maximum level. When we move over to SNES, we can really start to see some of the cracks in the original device. Many titles in the SNES library are playable on this unit, but some will require some heavy frameskip to run well. Out of any title, I'm probably most familiar with DK1, and this game chugs on the PG1. So much so that I tend to die at moments that I really shouldn't due to lag. When we switch over to the PG2, we have a really smooth gaming experience without any frameskip enabled. Out of the entire SNES library, there are only a handful of titles that can give this chip any issues, but they can run well if you use a specific emulator. Generally speaking, GBA is a bit of a crapshoot for the PG1 and a lot of other devices in the Gen 1 era. Almost all of these games are going to require frameskip of some kind, and can have a host of other problems ranging from lag to sound issues. Using Duke Nukem Advance as a benchmark, you can clearly see just how bad the original device was at emulating some of the powerful GBA titles when compared to the newer model. The last part of this video is dedicated specifically toward PS1 titles. There are a few titles that can run without any issues on the original device, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to pull out a few of my favorite examples for this test. In this test, I'm going to use audio out so you can hear the improvements in emulation that come from our 1 GHz CPU.
Great. Final round.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick look at the original Pocket Go versus the Pocket Go 2. I have a few more videos on this device planned, so keep an eye out. If you want to purchase either of the devices featured in this video, links are in the description box below. My name is Taki, and I've been your host for this showcase. If you like what you saw here and you want to support the channel, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for future content. Now go out and enjoy the rest of your day. Taki out.